So, good morning to everybody. Just to introduce, but already known, so Daniel Saintpierre from Ceres Pacific and myself from the University of Nouvelle-Calédonie. We will show you how ecological restoration on degraded areas, in particular on mining ones, but not only, can be considered as a tool to promote family-based farming. I will do a context exposition. I will present the context, and then Daniel will take it. We follow. Okay. Un peu long. So, as you all know, New Caledonia is considered as exceptional and is characterized by flora composed of about 3,400 species, with an endemicity of 75%. And New Caledonia is then recognized as one of the 10 first world hotspots of biodiversity. And one of the reasons of this speciation is the presence of ultramafic outcrops that cover 1/3 of the country and that are exploited by the mining companies for the nickel they contain. If we consider only the shrubby vegetation we call maquis in French, more than 90% of the plants present on this kind of vegetation are endemic. Also, we have the presence of heavy metals that has led some plants to develop particular adaptation, such as the accumulation of these metals. The other main vegetation that is present on this kind of soil is the forest, for which the maquis is in a large part the successional vegetation that appears after its destruction. Unfortunately, like everywhere in the world, this biodiversity is threatened by 4 major factors: fires, mining activities, urbanization, and invasive species introductions. The increased development of human activities led to an important loss of habitats and landscape fragmentation, and the final consequence is the loss of ecosystem services with an important degradation of biodiversity. As you know, ecosystem services are defined as the goods or services provided by ecosystems to humans. 4 different types of ecosystem services have been distinguished, but all are essential to maintain the delicate balance between man and nature. Fight against erosion, for example, using revegetation is essential to protect agricultural land downstream. In New Caledonia, unfortunately, the forest has been greatly reduced since the arrival of humans, as shown here on these first 2 maps for the dry forest, that lost more than 98% of its original surface. Now, considering the forest on ultramafic outcrops environment, its degradation naturally led to the establishment of the maquis, and it takes many years to return to its initial state. Thus, without disturbance, it is estimated that it takes, in some cases, nearly 800 years. So, how can we help forests grow back, and what methods are we developing? To meet this major challenge, we are doing what is called ecological restoration. It's a scientific activity that identifies remedies to help nature reconstruct itself when it has been damaged. The repair can be done on the bare soil or at the different stage of the plant succession, means the different stage from the bare soil to the forest. Here is the illustration of this succession on mining soils. And when the ground is bare, it's the hardest, and you have to give nature a big boost. So historically, in New Caledonia, the first revegetation trio was begun in the 70s with the use of exotic species such as the pinus, here illustrated. The results were inconclusive, and some species presented an invasive nature. Then in the 80s, two native species were used, Acacia spirorbis and Casuarina collina, but unfortunately they tended to block the systems. In the early 19th, pioneer species were identified. Indeed, what could be better than using our local species that have taken millions of years to adapt? Since the 2000s, several major works have been undertaken. The study of the seeds permitted to define both the best germination conditions, but also the conditions of survival in the natural environment. We also studied interaction with other components of the ecosystem, such as fungi that grow in symbiosis with plants. And today, from all these results, several methods are used for restoration. Planting after productions of seedlings in nursery, manual seed sowing, dry seeding, hydro-seeding, and finally the use of topsoil. For those who don't know, the topsoil is the surface soil situated in the first 20 centimeters and that contains an extraordinary biological richness, whether in microorganisms or seeds. It's the only process that do not need to collect seeds in natural environment. All the other led to large collections of seeds in natural environments. So in order to optimize the use of the seeds and to reduce their collection, we worked and still working to find out what is the optimal time to collect seeds, what is the best way to collect them, process them after harvest, and how to accelerate germination of those who take their time, while looking for the better way to store them. However, regarding all this research, the demand of large seed quantity is increasingly strong, and my colleague will explain you why.
Thank you, Bruno, and hello, everyone. Before talking about the way we try to include local communities in our activities, and although they may seem a bit old, here are a few figures of how the mining activity impacts the environment and what has been done since the environmental awareness arose in New Caledonia. So in 2008, the surfaces impacted were estimated at 20,000 hectares, when between 1971 and 2008, only 365 hectares were revegetated, which means less than 2% of the 20,000. And between 2010 and 2015, approximately 40% of the new degraded areas were revegetated. And it's in this context that the company I work for was created. So Cirrus Pacific was founded more than 30 years ago in 1993, when the first hydroseeding experiments using endemic species were being carried out. We are specialized in rehabilitation and spatial planning of degraded sites. We rapidly understood that mastering endemic seed supply is one of the main keys to efficient revegetation projects. Hence the development of our seed management sector, which became one of our priorities. The establishment of this sector was made possible thanks to close relationships with scientific partners such as Bruno. 30 years of revegetation projects has enabled us to work all over the country on many ancient or active mining sites using two main techniques, hydroseeding and planting of endemic species. Now to come to today's topic, our manager, belonging to a pioneer family of New Caledonia, is concerned about involving local populations in the environmental or economic activities of the country. Thus, we achieve this through different operations I will describe in the next slides. One way to involve these populations is to integrate them in the supply chain of endemic seeds. In such cases, what happens, we create informal relationships with people who are willing to collect seeds in their surroundings, and in that way, several tons of seeds are harvested every year, thanks to our partners all around New Caledonia, and we work with 130 people from the south region of Yate right up through to Kone region and Kumak in the far north. Operating mode consists of defining our needs in seeds, placing orders, on-site training of our partners, for instance, in identifying species and collection methods. When a partner has sufficient amounts to deliver, we organize this delivery or reception. And the benefits of such partnerships are that they create income, especially for very remote populations. It can be assimilated to social action, by promoting integration of the people into the professional world. And it also has a positive environmental impact by educating local population on preservation of species and ecosystems. And in terms, the seeds they collect also are used for revegetation projects. But on the other hand, we have noted some limitations of these partnerships. The first is generally the lack of botanical knowledge. Also the lack of equipment. Many people don't have vehicles, nor driver's license, nor adapted spaces for storage. The fact that the activity is seasonal, the fruit of endemic species are usually ripe between December and April. The administrative requirements and safety standards on active mines add difficulty and may discourage volunteers. Even if I'm not sure this is a limitation, but it is important to notice that generally that the women get involved in seed collection. And strangely enough, we have noticed that this activity sometimes creates rivalries. Another way to involve local communities in employment is to employ them on planting operations. And this means partnerships. These partnerships, mean we identify projects which do not require too specific skills. It means we are able to get in touch and discuss with traditional authorities in order to identify potential employees. It means, again, on-site training, and it also means that we provide equipped vehicles and that the works are led by CIRAS team leaders. The benefits and limitations are more or less the same as previously, so I will develop here. A third way to involve local populations is helping in the creation of endemic plants nurseries. There are only very few of these for the moment in New Caledonia. The main reasons are that there, once again, is a lack of botanical and horticultural skills, a wrong perception of the amount of work that needs to be invested, the fact that endemic species are slow-growing plants, a low return on investment, the difficulty or impossibility to sell the plants elsewhere than for revegetation projects, and the fact that there is generally low or no anticipation of the needs by stakeholders. Now, for perspectives.
1 minute.
Wow. As we indicated earlier, the surfaces which will need to be revegetarized will be increasing in the future years, and seed collection will most probably not be possible and become problematic in the future. One of the solutions is to reduce, is to create seed orchards. Lost. Stakeholders have started working on the establishment of these seed orchards for several years, and today we have 15.4 hectares planted with seed orchards, essentially with the 3 Saintpierre species listed here. In order to evaluate the areas needed to meet requirements of revegetation, the number of seeds produced per plant of tetraria were determined. And based on the actual needs, our results show that for this species, orchard surfaces should be multiplied by 10. The same reasoning ought to be applied to all the other species of interest for revegetation, of course. And I will conclude with these 2 points. The surface calculations I have just mentioned should also integrate the fact that areas will keep increasing in the future, surfaces to be revegetated. And finally, to ensure profitability of these seed orchards, their existence needs to be guaranteed for at least 20 years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cassandra?
Yes, thank you for this presentation. I wanted to ask, what are the benefits for the company to create partnerships like that?
First of all, we have huge needs in seed collection. We have our own teams that collect everywhere in New Caledonia, but we do not manage to collect enough. So these partnerships are obviously interesting for us because they supply extra seeds we would not be able to collect. In planting projects, as I said, we are a New Caledonian company. We are intimately, we feel intimately linked to this country, and it just seems normal for us to involve people which live in remote situations and help with the economic development of such regions.
If I can add something, people from the place know when the seeds are ready to be collected. So they are all on the place all the time, so they can do work that the company cannot do. It means a survey all along the years, and it's a benefit in some way.
Yes, I noticed that 85% to 75% of the plants are superaceae. And so, what will happen after? Do you intend that the birds will bring shrub seeds, or do you need to plant shrubs after the supers? Because if you want to reach, the canopy, something after the herbs.
So in fact, it's due to the succession, ecological succession.
Yes, yeah.
The first thing that appears are the Saintpierre. So that's why we use the Saintpierre. And when we have bare soil, we have to put first the Saintpierre. And then in the mix of hydroxylene, there is also seeds from lignous.
Lignous
species. So yes, there is a mix, but the first one to stabilize the soil and to make it favorable for other species is to put stilburs. And that's why the 2 species are cultivated in orchards. Yeah.
Yes, the other species we still manage to collect enough in the wild.
Question on the engagement of the community or people. Are they being directly employed or contracted out to join the company? Second is, are there any incentive paid when collecting seeds or planting the restoration egg?
Yes, we employ them for specific projects, and for what concerns the seeds, we just buy the seeds they collect and they bring us.
Well, that's because the seeds are seasonal.
Yes.
For instance, seasonal, so we also collect the seeds and contracted on a seasonal basis.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Mm-mm.
I was wondering whether you can rely for this work on inventories that have been done before the degradation, before land exploitation, and so if in the end you will be able to put the same species that were here initially, if it's possible or if it's just completely utopist.
We do that exactly. We base our seed mixes on the inventories, the flora inventories we have at our disposition.
And who has done this inventory? The mining companies or the
government
of Nouvelle-Calédonie?
It could be IOD, Austin before, or IOD, it could be the company because they have some obligation when they destroy some place, so they have to
inventories.
And we have and we have we have a lot of inventories of vegetation in Nouvelle-Calédonie. So we base on this, and we have what we call geographical basis because it's not the same on the west coast, east coast, north and south, but we use large geographical area to define. And that's the reason why they have also collection all around New Caledonia, not only in the east or in the west.
No, you said that I was not to say.
Another question from
a lot of questions. Did you suffer fires on places where you replanted?
Suffer what?
Did you suffer already fires?
Yes, it has happened on Tio mine, but not on the seed orchards. For the moment, they have not suffered fire.
So there is, because if you have fire, it could be seen as maybe a bad acceptance of local peoples of this replantation. So normally people are very keen to see it as a landscape change and.
Yes, they are. Yes, and when they have participated either in the planting project or the seed collection, well, it gives an extra benefit to the project.
Last question or comment?
Just we noticed that we established seed orchards. So most of your seedlings are raised from seeds, is it?
Yes.
Have you done vegetative propagation?
No. Well, for Saintpierre seeds, we give the best results, best and most rapid results for plant production.
So mostly seeds.
Yes.
And we try to do this because it's better to have the genetic diversity coming from seeds rather than having just cuttings or something like this. Yeah.